Hello there everyone, today I'll be talking about the 190th Street Station, which is served by the A train at all times. In New York City, Mayor John Francis Hyland's original plans for the independent subway system, proposed in 1922, included building over 100 miles of new lines and taking over nearly 100 miles of existing lines. The lines were designed to compete with the existing underground surface and elevated lines operated by the Interborough Rapid Transit Company and BMT. On December 9, 1924, the New York City Board of Transportation gave preliminary approval for the construction of the I&D 8th Avenue line. This line consisted of a corridor connecting Inwood, Manhattan to downtown Brooklyn, running largely under 8th Avenue, but also paralleling Greenwich Avenue and 6th Avenue in Lower Manhattan. The Board of Transportation announced a list of stations on the new line in February 1928, with a station at 190th Street. The Board of Transportation began constructing the 190th Street station in 1928. Squire J. Vickers, the chief architect of the dual system, helped design the 190th Street station. He was responsible for most stations on the independent subway system and being a painter. He did tile work for the station. Robert Ridgway was hired as the chief engineer. The finishes at 5 stations between 175th Street and 207th Street, including the 190th Street station, were 18% complete by May 1930. By that August, the Board of Transportation reported that the 8th Avenue line was nearly completed and that the stations from 116th Street to 207th Street were 99% completed. The entire line was completed by September 1931, except for the installation of turnstiles. A preview event for the new subway was hosted on September 8, 1932, 2 days before the official opening. The 190th Street station opened on September 10, 1932, as part of the city's operated I&D's initial segment, the 8th Avenue line between Chambers Street and 207th Street. Construction of the whole line cost $191.2 million. Service at the station was provided with express service from its onset, while the IRT Broadway 7th Avenue line already provided to Washington Heights. The new subway by Fort Washington Avenue made subway service more readily accessible. Its opening resulted in the development of a residential apartment building south of the station. On December 28, 1950, the Board of Transportation issued a report concerning the construction of bomb shelters in the subway system. 5 of these stations in Washington Heights, including the 190th Street station, were considered to be ideal for being used as bomb-proof shelters. The program was expected to cost $104 million. These shelters were expected to provide limited protection against conventional bombs, while providing protection against shock waves and air blasts, as well as from the heat and radiation to an atomic bomb. To become suitable as shelters, the stations would require water supply facilities, first aid rooms, and additional bathrooms. However, the program, which required federal funding, was never completed. In 1951, researchers from the New York University concluded that in the event of a nuclear attack, the 190th Street station would provide adequate shelter from fallout. This was ascertained after the researchers concluded tests on cosmic rays inside deep subway stations in the area. The 190th Street station is mostly unchanged from its original design. On March 30, 2005, the 190th Street station was listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The station was considered historically and architecturally significant as an early I&D station that retained many of its original features. From 1932 until 1957, pedestrians had to pay a fare to use the elevators. Though the elevators were intended for subway riders, local residents paid the subway fare to avoid climbing about 8 stories up Fort Washington Hill. Bills were proposed in the New York State legislature to put the elevators out of fare control, but these failed in committee. On September 5, 1957, the New York City Transit Authority began allowing free public access to the elevators at 181st Street and 190th Street stations. The NYCTA agreed once Joseph Sareki, the local state senator, requested the change. Several of the elevators in the station are staffed by elevator attendants who are also employed at 4 other deep-level stations in Washington Heights. The elevator attendants are intended to reassure passengers as the elevators are the only entrance to the platforms, and passengers often wait for the elevators with an attendant. The attendants at the 5 stations are primarily maintenance and cleaning workers who suffered injuries that made it hard for them to continue doing their original jobs. In July 2003, to reduce costs, the Metropolitan Transportation Authority announced that as part of its 2004 budget, it would eliminate 22 elevator operator positions at the 190th Street station and 4 others in Washington Heights, leaving 1 full-time operator per station. The agency had intended to remove all the attendants at these stops, but kept one in each station after many riders protested. In addition, the MTA began operating all elevators at all times. Prior to the change, each elevator only operated if it was staffed by an elevator operator. The change took effect on January 20th, 2004, and was expected to save $1.15 million a year. In November 2007, the MTA proposed saving cuts to help reduce the agency's deficit. As part of the plan, all elevator operators at the 190th Street, along with those in 4 other stations in Washington Heights, would have been cut. MTA employees had joined riders in worrying about an increase in crime as a result of the cuts after an elevator operator at the 181st Street on the Broadway 7th Avenue line helped save a stabbed passenger. The move was intended to save $1.7 million a year. However, on December 7, 2007, the MTA announced that it would not remove the remaining elevator operators at these stations due to pushback from elected officials and residents from the area. In October 2018, the MTA once again proposed removing the elevator operators at the 5 stations, but this was reversed after dissent from the Transportation Workers Union. The MTA again suggested reassigning elevator operators to station cleaner positions in June 2023, prompting local politicians to sue to prevent the operators' reassignments. This station's elevators were closed for elevator replacement on August 29, 2020, but the station remained open by the exit to Bennett Avenue. The elevators were scheduled to reopen in September 2021. Some of the elevators reopened on November 30th, 2021, and the reopening was pushed back due to unexpected structural issues. This station has 2 side platforms and 2 tracks, and it is ADA accessible to the mezzanine only, while the platforms are not ADA accessible. And the MTA ridership count of 2022 was 776,585. I hope you all like this video. Please like, subscribe, and share this video to other people. And I will see you guys in the next time. Bye.